Hey guys, what's going on? So, as you may have noticed by the title of this video, this is not a video about a music review or a drum cover or anything like that. Um, I decided after going to Winter Jam this year that I wanted to make a video talking about Winter Jam. And I apologize, I'm recording the introduction for this after I've already recorded the main review of it because I've been waiting on a friend of mine to get me some pictures of Winter Jam because I didn't bring my camera, and I very stupidly thought, well, like security wouldn't let me in with the camera or something. I have no idea what I was thinking, so I was waiting on her to upload those. Big shout out goes to her. Thank you very much for that. And I also apologize too, like if in this introduction my voice sounds a little bit different from what you're about to hear, because in the time since recording that main review, I've caught a little bit of a cold. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I believe I say this at the end of the video, but let me know. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on Winter Jam is, and I hope you enjoyed the review. So starting off, I got to the Mitchell Center about 4 o'clock ish, and the show wasn't supposed to start until 7. And to my surprise, I figured there might be some other people who did it, but to my surprise, there was about roughly 100 people or so ahead of me. So I wasn't quite front of the line, but I was still pretty close enough. I thought I did pretty good. So, and while we were waiting, you know how at some shows every now and then somebody might come out and play a little bit for you. Well, Mr. Dan Bremis came out and he played a couple of his songs that are supposed to be on his album that he has yet to release, but he had copies of his album and he was selling them for $5 and we could get them autographed from him. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take that deal. So I went ahead, I got it. It's autographed. It's sitting in my room right now. And you can expect a music review. I don't know when, but at some point, that content is going to get reviewed. I even told him, I was like, I've been wanting to listen to your music and review it for a while. So he's, for the 2 seconds I got to talk to him, he was a really nice guy. So anyway, let's get to the actual show itself. And real quick, let me just kind of give you a perspective of where I was. So say you are standing directly in front of the stage. You guys don't need to know what the layout of the Mitchell Center. Basically, it's just the arena itself is just circular because that's where it's a coliseum in a sense without being a coliseum. The building is square, but the actual inside is inside the thing is circular because it's a coliseum where they play their basketball games and everything. But anyway, so you're standing directly in front of the stage, center stage, whatever, and you're facing the stage. So on your left, then, kind of back. Let's see, the state. The state you have the main stage itself, and then from the front center of the stage, you have like this long walkway or a runway, I guess, if models were walking on it. So basically, where I was, I'd be to the left of that, about stage level, in this little section of bleachers, and I had pretty good view of everything, from the walkway to the main stage itself. I could see just about just about every single one of the instrumentalists. And I had, whenever people would walk out into that walkway, if they stood towards the front of it and everything, I had perfect shots on them, which is why I'm really disappointed that I didn't bring my camera. I didn't bring my camera with me, but Anyway, so that just kind of gives you a perspective of where I was. When I say I was stage level, like what I mean is like if it was a parking lot or just any type of level ground, it just like it would have been like, just like we were on level ground or something, and it's just like these people were only 10 feet away from me, so it was pretty freaking awesome. Anyway, let's get into the actual bands themselves. So starting with the Prix Jam party, we had Westover, who going into this I thought was the band's name, and I guess it kind of sort of is. But the guy who is the front man or the leader or whatever, his name is actually Westover, or at least his last name is. I don't know what his first name is or anything like that. But anyway, just really quick, they were the opening act. They were the new kids on the block, and they were by far probably the least impressive of all the bands there. It's not to say that they were necessarily bad. They just they were okay. They didn't impress me too much. But I think one thing that I have to say about them, they do this weird gimmick with these rolling chairs, and I don't know. It was just kind of weird. I'll just say that it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It just was weird. Anyway, but at the same time, though, I mean, they were a solid enough opener, and at the same, in theory, you kind of want the weakest band to start first because, that way you're getting the stuff that the crowd may not like out of the way, and you're going on to, the better bands, the reason why people came. Next up in the pre-jam party, though, was Mallory Hope, who, once again, I had never heard prior to this night, and she was okay. I'd have to listen. It was from where I was, like the speakers were like literally right next to my ear, so it was hard to hear a lot of the lyrics. I was hearing more of the music itself. It was hard to hear a lot of people sing, but from what I could hear, she sounded okay. But once again, I'd had to give a better review on her. I'd have to listen to the studio tracks and everything. But as far as a performer goes, though, I thought she handled everything really well. And then come to find out afterward, she was actually sick in that performance, and she still came out with a ton of energy and charisma and everything. So, if nothing else, I have to give her bonus points for that. That was pretty cool. And finally, closing out the pre-jam party was Dan Bremis, of course, who I mentioned earlier. And Dan is really interesting. I had heard of him before. I never actually heard his music, but he does not have a band. He's actually got between his program on his Mac, and I guess he's got it's either an octopad or a synthesizer or something. I'm not entirely sure what it is he's using, but he's got, like, between all those, he's got that as his background, and he doesn't have a band. And he actually kind of stood on this platform that had light bulbs going all around. It was a circular platform that had light bulbs going all around him, so he was just standing in the middle of that. So it was a little bit different, and I think he was actually really good. I liked his songs that he played, and I'm enough that I'm looking forward to hearing how they sound on the album. I mean, they just, he was like one of the guys who was a little bit more on the worship leader kind of side of things, and I thought he did a really solid job. I mean, but anyway, obviously, I don't know how long Dan's been doing this, but I mean, to me, he's a kind of guy who he doesn't have, I hate to use showman terms like this, but he doesn't have the star power yet. But I think he's well on his way to getting there. And speaking of star power, let's go on and get to the main roster, the Winter Jam main crew itself. Kicking us off, we have Mr. Jordan Feliz, giant brim hat and all. Jordan Feliz, I was actually pretty impressed with. I thought he tore the roof down. He only got to sing 3 songs, but he killed it in the 3 songs. And let me say something else too. Jordan Feliz, really all the bands, but Jordan Feliz in particular, kind of reminded me how music that you hear on an album is not always replicated the same way live. In other words, I enjoy, but I also simultaneously complain about a lot of synthesized pop that I hear in the Christian music libraries nowadays. And while it gets a little annoying to constantly hear that over and over again, I have to start reminding myself now that when you go to a live show, it's not necessarily going to sound that way. They might have some of those elements included via your computer programs and everything, but it's going to have a little bit more different sound because you have a lot of the instruments that are normally computerized in the studio. You're actually using the live instrument, so it has completely different sound, which is actually really cool. And I can't review every single live album that's out there, but it almost encourages me to maybe want to get my hands on some live albums now. But anyway, that's a story for another time. So I thought he, as far as Jordan Feliz go, like I said, I thought he absolutely tore it up. I thought he was awesome. He did, since he had such a small set list, I can remember he did Witness, which is going to be released on his new album. It's probably playing on the radio already by now. Beloved and The River. I know he did all those. So again, Jordan tore it up. Thought he was awesome. Moving on, we have a new song. And of course, new song comes to these things year after year because they're the founders of it. Between them and Nick Hall, they're the founders basically of the Winter Jam Tour. So of course you know that they're going to be there, which is amazing to me because these guys have been around forever and they're still doing this and they still sound as good as ever. They did 4 songs, and the first 3 I can't remember which ones they are, but they're songs I'm pretty sure I had heard before. And of course, and I think they realized this, like this is just like a rule that's branded mandatory in for all new song appearances. You can't have a new song appearance without them singing their classic "Arise My Love," and which every time I hear them sing that, whether it's live or it's the old track, that one sends just absolute chills, goosebumps, whatever. It's such an amazing song, and it's always a joy to be able to hear them sing that live. So after they got done playing, Nick Hall, who, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, he's another founding person of Winter Jam. He does, he does the speaking part. He'll take about 15 minutes or so and speak a message. And his message was really catered to young people about, not going with what society tells you is important and everything and all that. And it was a good message for young people to hear. The thing that I got out of it, at one point he actually used a ladder and he had, spray painted the words people and faith on this ladder. On one side it was people, on the other side it was faith. And the thing that I thought was pretty cool was, he says, you notice as you go up the ladder, The rungs, they get closer and closer together, and the ladder was basically a symbol of your walk as you're walking in your faith, and as you're walking with faith, trying to get closer to God. You have to understand that as you're going to go along with that event, you have to associate yourself with people, because you can't get closer to God through your faith without getting close to people. And it was it I'm not really doing the message justice, but I mean, it's true though, because we like to just focus on our relationship with God, and it's important, but we can't forget about other people who need to come to know him as well. And so it's that's why Jesus made mention of loving your neighbor as yourself in conjunction with loving God with all your heart, soul, and strength, and because they go hand in hand. Anyway, so that was basically his message in a nutshell, and I thought overall it was pretty good. So once he was done, that's when a whole new dynamic hit, and we got introduced to Mr. KB. Now, KB is a rapper, and for those of you who are not aware by now, I am not a general fan of the rap or hip hop genre. About the only exception that I really make is Lecrae, and a few Toby Mac songs, but KB, first of all, I couldn't understand a word he said. This is not me hitting on KB, like saying that he was terrible or anything. It's just I could not understand a single word he was saying. But while I guess I can sum up KB this way: while I'm not planning on adding his music to my library collection anytime soon, I don't know, there was just something about him that seemed to just kind of connect with me, that like, maybe this guy is not like a lot of people that I've seen who are just really exploiting this for their to make money. I don't know, I couldn't really tell what it was that made me think this, but I could feel some genuineness in him. I could feel some legitimacy in him, and that really helped reassure me, I guess. And I mean, because while he put on a typical rap show, he didn't put on a typical rap show, if you know what I mean. He was very clean about a lot of different things, and at one point he even got on his knees and bowed to, not to the audience, but to just in general to God, which was really cool actually. So yeah, again, so I'm not gonna necessarily recommend his music just because I don't like rap, but at the same time, KB the person got a little bit of my respects. So good job, KB. That's all I have to really say about that. So after KB was done, I can't remember if I've got this order wrong. I'm pretty sure John Crist came out next. Now, John Crist is a comedian, and he's like he's one of those filler people as they get the next set of instruments ready. And John Crist, he did a comedy act for about maybe 15-20 minutes or something like that. And the sad thing is like I can't really remember all of his jokes. I mean, strike one was the fact that it took me about 4 minutes into the act for me to actually crack a smile and then laugh. So that's sign number one. That is bad. And what's funny for me is the best joke of the night that he told, I can't even really remember. It was about Joel Osteen, and it was hilarious. But for the life of me, I can't even remember what it was. But then the joke that kind of offended me a little bit was the one that he made about Trump supporters. So, but then again, he currently lives in Los Angeles, so take from that what you will. Um, I mean, I'm not going to get into politics in this video, but I mean, I thought it was that joke was in pretty bad taste. But anyway, so once he finally got off the stage, next we had Carrie Job, and of course she brought along her recently married husband, Coney Carnes. And I tell you what, I was really looking forward to Carrie Job, and I got to see her. I could hardly hear her though. I mean, again, this is part of the problem is the fact that I was literally like right next to the speakers. They're blaring in my ears, and I've already got a bad migraine like throughout this whole night. But Carrie is a very good singer. I love Carrie Job's music, but Carrie did at Winter Jam what I've seen her do in a lot of different live performances. And this was my first time ever seeing Carrie Job in person. Any other time I watched a live performance, it was always something that was already taped or something like that. This was my first time getting to see her in person. I was really psyched about it. And Carrie did the same thing, and I should have seen this coming. I don't hate on Carrie for this. I know she really loves God and she gets really into the moment, but sometimes her emotions really get the best for her, or best of her rather, and she just she'll stop singing, and because the crowd already knows the song, they keep singing, they keep everything going, but it's like, Carrie, I know you're excited and everything, but I need you to sing. This is kind of the reason why I came. I mean, yeah, I'm here. Ultimately, I'm here to praise and worship God. But that's kind of what your job is, to help me do that. You're singing, and I'm singing along with you. This is how this works. But I mean, I can understand it. Every now and then you want to get the crowd a little bit more involved. You'll stop singing and everything. But she did this like every 10 or so minutes, or even less than that, and it just was a little disappointing. But again, one other minor complaint that I had was a couple of the songs that she did was not even really her doing it. It was Cody doing it, and it was songs that Cody had wrote. And I'm like, well, that's all well and good and everything. I understand Cody's your husband now. But the poster said Carrie Job with Cody Carnes. And all due respect, Cody, but if I wanted to hear you sing your songs, I would have come when the poster said Cody Carnes with Carrie Job. But it didn't say that. The poster said Carrie Job with Cody Carnes. So, Cody, you want to sing along? That's great, man. I respect you. You're a great musician, songwriter, and everything. But I came to hear your wife sing, dude. I didn't come to hear you sing your songs. Maybe I'm a little harsh about it, but I just was like, this is the first time I ever got to see Carrie live. And who knows if I'll ever have the chance to see her live again. And it's like a third of her set was taken up by Cody's songs, and I'm like, that didn't sit too well with me. But I don't want to be completely negative about Carrie's set. The good things were, she sang a Revelation song. She sang Forever, which of course felt standard. I was kind of expecting to hear a little bit more from her newest album, but surprisingly I didn't get that. Maybe a song or two, but or just really a song maybe. I can't even remember which one it was. But it was still cool though. I mean, all those problems aside, I got to hear Carrie sing in person. I got to see her. She was like literally standing about 10 feet in front of me. And the whole thing was, the whole thing was just amazing. And this is the part where I could be like one of those guys who say, I envy the people at Robert Morris's church because they get to have her lead worship all the time and everything, but I'm not. I'm a Gateway. That's what it was. Thank you. At Gateway Church. But no, I'm not going to be like that because there's no point. But it was very cool to hear her live, and I was glad overall. All right, so we got two more acts to cover. So Building 429 was next. And the last time I had gone to a Winter Jam was a few years ago. It was the last time Skillet was in Winter Jam. And Building 429 was there as well. I think Jeremy Camp, Francesca Battistelli for King and Country, they were all there. And another band that I won't mention because I can't stand them. But that was the last time I was at Winter Jam. So I got to see Building 429 again, so I'm pumped. I can't wait to hear some of the songs from their more recently released album, Unashamed, I believe it is. And kind of like Carrie, they didn't really do a whole lot with that album. They played a lot of old favorites, which was fine. I like the old favorites. But I was kind of looking forward to hearing some of the newer ones too. But it didn't happen. But that's okay though. Building 429 still put on a great show like they typically do. And the only difference between the last time I saw them versus this time was Blanca was actually on the Winter Jam tour with them, because this was about the time that she had just come out with her debut solo album. And as anyone who's a fan of Building 429 knows, Blanca sings part of the song Wrecking Ball with Building 429. So that year, she got to sing her part with them. This year, she wasn't on the tour, so Jason from Building 429 had to sing that part, and he didn't do a bad job or anything like that, but it's, you get so used to hearing another person singing a part, and it's like, and to hear the regular singer singing that is, it's a little weird, I guess, but I mean, it's not a complaint. It's just, this is, for comparison purposes, this is what happened. So that was Building 429, and again, a very solid performance. And then of course, closing out the show was Skillet. And Skillet, I might not have been a follower of Skillet since the original days, but I've been following Skillet since Comatose, and actually a little bit before Comatose. I was following Skillet when about the time Collide came out, actually, and I like to consider myself one of the panheads. I'm not an official panhead on Skillet's website, but I like to consider myself as one, and I have no shame in that. Anyway, Skillet came out though, typical Skillet. They John Cooper, in his crazy imagination, decided to strap himself up to a harness and have him be slowly lifted up and descend and lift up again and things like that, because the man is out of his mind. He's hilarious though. Of course, Jen Ledger, who I greatly respect for many different reasons. Of course, she's rocking away on the drums, and And of course Corey and Seth, they're shredding it up on their guitars and everything. They come out of the gate with "Feel Invincible," which is awesome. That's one of my favorite songs off of the newest, off of Unleashed. They go into Whispers in the Dark. I can't even think of the song titles. They go right into. After that, they go into "Sick of It," which is one of my all-time favorite Skillet songs ever. They played. Let's see, they played 4 songs off of Unleashed. 1 song off of Rise, which was "Sick of It," which I was a little disappointed in. I would have liked to have heard "Not Gonna Die," because I like that one too. Last time they were here, Unleashed wasn't out yet, and they did play "Not Gonna Die," so I guess, at least I've heard them play that live. From Awake, they played, I want to say 3, because they played Hero, Monsters, and Awake and Alive. And then from Comatose, they played Whispers in the Dark, and I think that's it, because they were catering to some of the newer ones. So songs that I didn't get to hear, or that I heard last time I didn't get to hear this time, were like Those Nights, Rebirthing, which I was expecting them to close with Rebirthing, because that's what they did the last time. And hearing Jen play Rebirthing with Skillet just adds like a whole new dimension to the drum part that, I respect Lori Peters, but sorry, Jen outplays you. I'm sorry. But yeah, Rebirthing was such a great closer that they did the last time. I was expecting them to do that again, and they didn't do it, so that kind of surprised me. Let's see, they didn't play that. They didn't play Those Nights. I may have said that already. And they didn't play Not Gonna Die. They didn't play Circus for a Psycho. So there was a few of them that they played the last time that I didn't get to hear, but I got to hear pretty much all the ones that I wanted to hear off of Unleashed. They played at this one. I got to hear Feel Invincible, which after seeing Jen play that live, I want to revisit that cover. I want to do another take on it. But I saw that one. They did Lions. They did Stars, which was really cool. When they did Stars, they went to this kind of a little mini stage that was set up back behind some of the floor chairs, right in front of the camera, and they had like these old light bulbs on poles and everything, and it was really cool. It was almost as if they took it off of one of their music video sets and set it up like right there. It was so cool. And I think the one that they closed with from Unleashed was The Resistance, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about this whenever I finally review Unleashed, but The Resistance, to me, all I can think of nowadays when I hear The Resistance is how much it reminds me of Shinsuke Nakamura's WWE ring entrance music, but that's probably just me. But it was a great closer. It was a great show all the way around, and that leads me into basically just what my final thoughts are. If Winter Jam is coming to your city or close enough to your city that you feel that you would want to drive there, you should do it. I think you should do it. I think they had a really good lineup this year. It's only a $15 donation. That's what they call it. You don't buy a ticket. They call it a donation. It's just, look, it's a $15 entrance fee. Just call it what it is. Don't play mind games with us. Just call it what it is. It's $15 to get in the door, and that's fine. We understand bills have to get paid. That's life. But anyway, it's entirely worth the $15. Even if you get robbed of a little bit more Carrie Job than you would like, I promise that's the last time I say it. Um, it's still worth it. I mean, they had there was not even the band who I thought was the weakest, Westover. I don't even them. I don't think they were necessarily bad. They were very average, but I don't. I mean, there was nobody who I had a beef with. Even KB. I don't like his style of music, but even KB. I don't think he was that bad. So this is completely worth it to me. If they're coming to your city, near your city, whatever, you got take the time to go see it. It is completely worth it. And you get to hear great music. You get to hear some pretty good testimonies of stuff. There's some moments where it felt like kind of an out of body church experience, which isn't necessarily good. But aside from that, though, I mean, it was a very standard concert, and I enjoyed it very much. Um, so oh, I should also make note because I was going through Winter Jam's website or something. I was going through something before I went to the show, and I noticed that for a few shows coming up, actually, as of this recording, they're actually going to be adding Addison Agen, who, if you don't know, was the runner-up of this year's, or I guess technically 2017's Voice, I guess. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but in this most recent Voice, she was the runner-up, and she's only like 16 years old, and she has an amazing voice, well beyond her years. So, and she's going to be for, I think, according to the site, said she was going to be there for like 3 shows or something like that. And I was just sitting here, I was like, well, that's a bum. I would have liked to have seen her live. That would have been cool. But anyway, and I think starting in March, I think Holland is actually joining the Winter Jam tour. So my first question would be, why are you waiting until March? But anyways, if so yeah, when you get around March, if you're a fan of Holland or Holland's music, her style of music or anything like that, that's an extra added bonus for you that I didn't get to see. So there may be, I know people who like Holland. I've listened to a little bit of her stuff, and it's well, this is not a music review, so I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, my point being, once again, this is definitely something worth going to see this year. And the only other thing I really want to talk about is some people who I would like to see on the Winter Jam tour some year. I mean, I always love having Skillet on the Winter Jam tour. That's great and everything. Some bands that I would like to see either make a debut or come back, whichever. I would love to see Sidewalk Prophets again, because it's been a while since I've seen them. I would want to see For King and Country come back. They always put on good shows. Some people who I haven't had a chance to see, and as far as I know have never been on a Winter Jam tour, I would love to see Mercy Me. I would love to see Meredith Andrews. I would love to see Lauren Daigle. That would be amazing. I would love to see Lincoln Brewster. I would. I'd like. I mean, there's a lot of people actually that I would love to see on Winter Jam too. Third Day. I've never had the chance to see Third Day in person. I would love to see, if they're, if they still feel like touring for like, for the next however many years, that would be great. But yeah, just different people like them. That would be, amazing for me to see them in person. So Mr. I can't think of your name, the dude from New Song who kind of runs all of this. Let's make some things happen. But anyway, it was a good show this year. I look forward to finding out who they get for next year, whenever that rolls around. And yeah, I'm not really sure how else to end this off, so I'm just gonna say thank you guys for listening. If you guys have been to Winter Jam, or if you listen to this video at some point in the future after having gone to Winter Jam, tell me your thoughts about Winter Jam. What do you like? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Who were some people that you would like to see on the Winter Jam tour? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I would love to have a conversation with you about it. In the meantime, though, thank you again for listening, and until next time, take care.